What's up? J Street Moto here. Welcome back to the channel. So yeah, I'm still pretty much thinking about nothing but Nova Scotia and the long distance trip we're getting ready to take. The whole purpose of this video is to talk to you guys, just kind of let you into my crazy cobweb-filled brain about how I kind of classify stuff and how I organize to pack my bike. So essentially what I figured out in my time doing this is there are effectively 4 different classifications of stuff that you bring with you on a trip. Only 4. And I'm not going to list them in any particular order. I'm just going to kind of go through them. So first one would be stuff that I only need, and I should preface this. The way I classify this stuff is honestly by the need for accessibility. How do I need to access it on the bike while I'm riding or during the day, throughout my day? That's kind of how I group everything, or how I classify it. So the first classification I'm going to give you is, it's everything that I really don't need to get to any of it during the day while I'm riding. It's all the stuff that goes into the hotel with me. So think my clothes, my toiletries, phone chargers, and I'll be perfectly honest with you, I bring a bourbon glass with me because I don't like drinking whiskey out of the plastic or paper cups that they have in the hotel rooms that we stay in. So I bring a bourbon glass with me, or I buy one along the way. I find one when we're en route, and that's the glass that I use for that trip, and then it goes home and gets added to my bars collection. So another thing that I bring is flip-flops. I really don't bring other shoes. So just as a point of reference, I bring a pair of flip-flops, and I pretty much don't pack any other shoes. So I have the shoes that I'm wearing while I ride the bike, and then I have my flip-flops for when we get where we're going that night. We want to go out to dinner. I just wear the flip-flops instead of, if I need to, I can put my riding shoes back on. But I don't bring another pair of shoes, like closed-off shoes. So that's the kind of stuff that falls into that classification of it only goes into the hotel. I really don't need to get at it any other time during the day, right? So that's that classification of stuff. Then I have the classification of stuff that is like, I need to bring it with me on the off chance that I actually need it. So now you're talking tools, and when we talk tools, when I say tools, I'm using that as a loose term, because I will do, I classify zip ties as tools. I classify super glue as tools. I classify heat shrink as tools, electrical tape as tools, plus the actual tools themselves. So the second classification is stuff that I need should the bike break down. That's a good way to put it. Stuff I need in case the bike breaks down. That's the second classification. Third classification is stuff that I need easy access to pretty much every time we stop, and I need to be able to get to it. It's that simple. I need to be able to get to it while we are riding. And so just as a point of reference for you guys, that would be stuff like sunblock, chapstick, eye drops, for those of you that wear halves and don't wear fulls, or even for those of you that wear fulls, our eyes dry out over time. If you're spending 12, 13 hours on the road running at 80, 90 miles an hour, your eyes are going to dry out. So I bring eye drops with me. I need access to them. Water. Different kinds of gloves is another example. Those things, we call them buffs. I don't know what you guys call them, but those tubes you pull over your head that you can cover your face with. I bring those and I keep them easily accessible. Different riding glasses are easily accessible. It's that kind of stuff, right? That's the kind of thing that falls into that category. And then the fourth category would be the stuff I need easy access to if shit goes wrong. And what I mean by that is if the weather turns. So think cold weather gear, rain gear, all of that stuff, right? That's the fourth classification. And I use those classifications, quite frankly, I use those classifications to figure out where I'm going to pack shit. So for instance, that grouping that only goes into the hotel with me, that's pretty much what goes in my sissy bar bag and nothing else. I don't need to put anything else in there. I usually have a little extra room in the sissy bar bag, and I use that to, carry the stuff that I buy while we're on the trip, because we do buy things while we're out there. We get shirts, hats, whiskey. I mean, we buy a lot of stuff when we're on the road, and I gotta have a way to get that home. And so, that's kind of what is in that bag. That's where I put that stuff. Then you have the tools. Now the tools, and I'll cover this. Like I said, I'm going to show you guys me packing the bike out so you can kind of see how we do it and how I do it and where it's at. And you'll see the stuff at that time. But I've got these cool little bags that first heard about from Ryan Erlacher on the Law Abiding Biker, and they're made to basically sit in the gaps at the bottom of our saddlebags that are created by the little bar that the saddlebags sit on. So we've got two little slots there that you can fit stuff in. And normally, if you don't put anything there, that's where it catches all the shit you really need. So what I do is I bought those bags, and I separate and spread out my tools between those four bags. There's two in each saddlebag. And those tools get loaded in the very bottom of the saddlebag. Because, like I said, this is stuff I'm only going to need access to it if something really goes wrong, meaning I got to do something to fix the bike. I'm broken down on the side of the road. At that point, I don't give a shit that I have to unpack my entire saddlebag. I'd rather do that than have to take up the space in the saddlebag for a tool bag of some sort, because I have traveled that way before, and it's not the most efficient way to load the bike, I guess is a good way I would put that. So for me, the tools are going to go in at the bottom of the saddlebags, and they're going to stay there until, on the off chance that I actually need them. So that's that classification, right? Now, also in that classification, I'll go ahead and throw in there, I do have a portable compressor. It's about the size of a cordless drill, and I can use that to inflate my tires, or anybody's tires for that matter. So I do bring that with me, but that does not go in the bags that sit on it doesn't fit. So it has to go in separately. I also bring another thing that falls into that classification that doesn't go into those four little saddlebag bags, for lack of a better way of saying it, is the jump box that I have. I do have a battery that we can use to jump cars or motorcycles in case, Something happens on the road and the bike won't start. We've got a way to get it started. And then the last thing that falls into that category that doesn't fit into those bags is extra oil. I do bring at least 1 quart of oil with me, just on the off chance that the bike is burning some of it. I mean, I'm usually riding in climates that are very different to the one the bike normally operates in. So I might understand running around the Charlotte metro area, I might understand completely how much oil I'm going to use between oil changes. That changes when the humidity changes, the temperature changes, everything in your environment shifts. You go up in elevation or you go down in elevation. All those things have an impact on that, so I tend to bring a bottle of oil with me. And if I have to break into that bottle of oil, I will buy another one while I'm on the road. One of the great things about Harley, one of the reasons that I like Harley Davidson so much, is they've got an extensive dealer network. Pretty much if you're on the interstate, you're not too far away from a Harley dealership. And that's a good thing because, something happens. It's always nice to know you got someplace you can take your shit to get it fixed. The other good thing about Harley Davidson is, at least it's been my experience, and based on what I've heard from others, it's not an outlier, it's the norm. You roll into a Harley dealership with a problem and you're on a road trip, you are going to be pushed to the front of the line, and they're going to get your bike back there, and a mechanic's going to look at it and get it fixed to get you back on the road. Plain and simple. It literally comes down like that. I've experienced it firsthand. When we dealt with David's issues on the first California trip, I've experienced it firsthand with me when I had a couple of little issues on a long road trip. And I've heard from others that that's kind of how it is. And I really respect that from the manufacturer's standpoint. I mean, the whole purpose that you buy these things, or at least one of the reasons that you buy a Harley, is because you want to go and spend time running around on it, ride around the country. You can't do that if you don't have a way to keep the bike on the road. And Harley's done a really good job of ensuring that folks that are on road trips don't feel left out in the cold. I guess is a good way to put it. So, yeah, so I count all that stuff as tools, though, for lack of a better word. Let's get back to where we were going. Then you have the stuff you need access to, like, constantly throughout the day. That's the sunscreen, that's the bottles of water, the stuff for the GoPros and cameras, the batteries, the memory cards, all of that stuff. You kind of need access to it. Sunglasses, nighttime riding goggles. The list kind of goes on of the things that you need throughout the day. And that's really kind of what we're talking about here, is the stuff that you need access to throughout the day. And that stuff, for me at least, it all goes in the left side saddlebag. Then the right side saddlebag is reserved for rain gear, maybe a sweatshirt for easy access in case the weather gets cold. My leather coat, usually if I'm not wearing it, my leather coat for real cold weather is folded up in the right side saddlebag. And, yeah, that's it. Then the rest of that group, right, that group of stuff that you might need to get to it on the road, you need to be able to have access to it, but it's not something you're going to necessarily access every day. Like the stuff in the left saddlebag, that all goes in the right saddlebag. The only thing that I don't put inside the saddlebag is my leather pants that I use when it's extremely cold. Those are folded up, and I put them on top of my sissy bar bag and kind of sandwich them between whatever helmet I'm wearing, whatever helmet I'm not wearing, and the sissy bar bag. And that's where the leather pants sit. And, we've talked about this before. I don't wear the full that often. I wear it from time to time when I'm making a vlog. I wear it when it's raining or when it's really super cold. That's the only time I really wear the full. The rest of the time I'm in a half. So my full is usually the one that's being held on top of my sissy bar bag by an elastic net, and it is the one that is kind of sandwiching the leather pants between the bag and the helmet. And that's pretty much it, guys. But yeah, that's kind of how I think about packing for these trips. Now, let's talk about each class. I've kind of already talked about the other classifications, specifically the tools and that kind of stuff. Let's talk about the clothes for a minute. So, when we went to California the first time, I did a lot of research, and probably like a lot of you that might be watching this video, I went to YouTube for that research. I went and searched there to see, what do they have to say about this? And I've seen a couple of different schools of thought on packing clothes for a trip. And I'm going to tell you those schools of thought, and I'm going to tell you the one that I've kind of evolved into over the years, I guess is the best way to put it, because it's not something that I started out doing, but it's something certainly that I've evolved into. So, one school of thought is, bring your old underwear, bring t-shirts you don't care about, you're getting ready to throw them away, they were the ones you were using to cut, to do yard work or whatever. Basically bring stuff that is disposable, meaning you don't have to worry about bringing it home. So you basically wear that shirt or whatever, that shirt and underwear. One guy that I watched, what he said was, bring the shirt and underwear, or wear the shirt and underwear until you can smell them yourself while you're riding. Then it's time to throw them away. And I thought that was kind of funny, because, we get pretty smelly, especially depending on the kind of climate you're running around in. You can get kind of stinky on one of these things, rolling around all day. You're certainly not going to smell the best. But, so one school of thought is just wear the shit until you have to throw it away. And then throw it away. So by the time you get home, your bag's going to be pretty empty because you've gotten rid of the clothes that you took with you. It's not going to be completely empty because you're going to, like I said before, you're going to buy stuff and reload your bag. But you get the point. That's one school of thought. One school of thought is, you should have underwear, socks, t-shirt for every day you're going to be on your trip. Fresh ones. Boom. Every day. And bring enough for that. And there's some logic to that as well. That's going to result in you packing a lot more than you actually need to. But I understand the premise, why they are recommending that. Then the third one is, and this is the one that we kind of follow the most, I guess, is, bring enough clothes with you to get you to where you are taking a break. Now, keep in mind, I've told you, we think about two different kinds of motorcycle trips that me, David, and Juan all do. One is more like a big loop where we are going, we're going to ride to California, hang out for maybe a day or two, and then turn around and ride back. So most of the trip is going to be spent riding every day, where you're not coming back to the same location. And the other kind of trip is a destination trip, where I'm going to, ride out to this spot, going to hang out there for several days and explore, then I'm going to ride back. In both of those instances, or both of those ways of traveling, you're going to have access to laundry. You're going to have the ability to wash your clothes. So I tend to parse back how much stuff I bring with me, knowing that I'm going to be able to wash clothes, you know, at some point or multiple points during the trip. So I don't have to have something for every day because I can clean my stuff and then wear it again. That's kind of where we have all settled at, I guess is a good way to put it. I think the three of us have all kind of gone that way when we pack clothes. What that does, though, for me, is it means the riding clothes aren't going to be as much inside my limited space sissy bar bag. That gives me room for extra things, like maybe I want to bring a pair of shorts or swim trunks or, you know, something a little more dressy to wear out to dinner one night. I'm not talking a suit, but, you know, something that isn't that isn't just, you know, a t-shirt and jeans. That means I have room to pack that kind of stuff because I'm not using the space to carry 50 different t-shirts, underwear, and socks for every day that I'm on the road. So, yeah. So that's kind of how I pack, and and we'll go over specifically how I pack my clothes when I show y'all how I let the bike out. I have a special way that I pack my clothes, and I found that it gives me it's the best of both worlds. It gives me the most room, and it also gives me the most flexibility for being able to hold other things, is a good way to put it. So, yeah, well, there you go. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover on this one. Thank you guys for watching. If you like, share, comment, subscribe, click the notification bell. All that stuff helps the channel. If you're digging what I'm doing, please do one or more of those things. Always ride safe.